Good evening, guys. This is Brian with B&B Custom Outdoors, and coming to you tonight with a quick instructional video on how to use my grunt call. Many of you have requested this many times, and I'm sorry I haven't got to it until tonight, but here it is. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learn a little something on how to use your call to the very best of your ability. So we're going to jump right in. You can see I've already got my deer call apart. And you can see there are basically two groups to the deer call. There's the barrel, which is basically going to just hold and house the reed. This is the part that you're going to blow into. And then there's the sound group, or the stopper group, whatever you want to call. And it consists of the reed and tone board, the actual stopper itself, and the expansion tube. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put this call together. And actually, before I do, let me point out something else. Zell, if you want to zoom in. All right, right now you're looking at the bottom of the tone board. And I want you to notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little demarcations molded into the tone board. Those are really important on how you can adjust the call. As you see right now, my O-ring is set in the very first demarcation there. This is going to be the spot where you're going to make your dominant buck sound, okay? And so I'm going to put the call together now. This one is quite tight. They vary. Some of them will be pretty easy to take apart and put together. Some of them take a little bit more force. It's just because, as you guys know, who've purchased my things before, everything I do is handmade, so no two are just alike. So that's all that is. Okay, to the buck grunt. So to make the buck grunt, you saw where the O-ring was. I'm also going to pull out the expansion tube all the way, okay? And to make the sound of the buck grunt, I'm going to just use very soft, shortish puffs of air. Just remember, deer are soft animals. They do not make loud sounds, so neither should we when we're calling them. So this is a dominant buck. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Very flat most of the time, quite short, not loud. You may have noticed on the one grunt that was kind of elongated, I had a low pitch that went to a high pitch, something like this, right? You can do that with your tube hand, okay? The more you close your tube hand around the tube, the lower the pitch is going to be. Obviously, that's not a deer call, but that shows you how much you can bend the pitch just using your offhand. Okay, so that's the buck. Once again, just that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna take the call back apart now. Okay. And now you can see where the O-ring was in the buck area. Now I'm going to slide it all the way to the opposite ends, to the very last demarcation, right there. This is what we're going to use for an estrus doe bleat, okay? So I'm going to put the call back together. And for the doe bleat, I'm going to close the expansion tube all the way back down, okay? And for the doe bleat's a longer call, but it's still soft. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's an estrus doe bleat. And again, you saw that I was able to shape the tone using my offhand. So that particular call starts off low, goes high, and ends low, okay? And so to do that, I close, open, close the hand. Okay? And that's your estrus doe bleat, okay? Those are the two extremes, and honestly, those are the two calls I use almost exclusively for my own personal hunting. However, there are other demarcations. If you put it on the second, That'll be kind of an immature buck. I'll pull that expansion tube back out. And he is very much like the dominant buck call. It's just a little higher pitched. Okay. Move the ring to the next demarcation, and now you're getting into doe sounds. Okay, this would be like a doe grunt. So this would be just basically a contented doe. And here I'm going to have the expansion tube, I don't know, maybe about halfway expanded. Okay, getting a little higher pitched. And then finally, that second to last demarcation, again, this would be somewhere in the doe grunt area. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to experiment and know your own deer to know what to use this for, but maybe an immature doe. Depends on your hunting area. But folks, that is basically it. Very, very simple call to use, very simple to understand. Basically, as the O-ring moves towards the tip of the soundboard, the pitch gets higher. So you're moving from buck all up to the doe area. And that's the basics. And then again, your expansion tube's very much the same. You know, you want it extended for your bucks. As you get up, you might compress it just a little bit for various things to complement your hunting situation and the way you hear the deer. So that's it. I hope that helps you guys out. I hope that answers any questions you may have had. If you happen to have any more questions, please feel free to email me at bbcustomoutdoors@yahoo.com. You can also check out my website, which is www.bbcustomoutdoors.com. And I think you can message me there as well. I'm always on Facebook, and that is B Custom Outdoor, B&B Custom Outdoors Facebook page. And if you have any further questions or if I can help you, just feel free to contact me. Thank you very much and have a good night.